Welcome to TM Radio Broadcasting. My name is Frank Allen. We are live from Boston, Massachusetts. It is Wednesday, August the 16th, 2023. If you'd like to call the station and listen, dial +1 518 801 1318. If you have a question for my guests or myself, dial +1 617 987 8603. Tonight, we have two very special guests, and I'm sure they don't need an introduction, but here it comes. I would like to introduce Midge Mathis, co-founder of Targeted Justice, and Nicole Ahearn, advisory board member, Targeted Justice. Midge, would you like to say a few words?
I would. Hi, everyone. It's been a while since I've been on. Thank you, Frank, for having me here. I want to, first of all, acknowledge Frank and his continued activism. He has never wavered. He has never stopped. Some of us have. Some of us have had things happen that we were not able to carry on. But Frank has hung in there, and he has never stopped ever. So all these years, Frank, you've been being an activist and running your radio show. So he has two shows, actually. So I want to thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Midge. And next, Nicole, go right ahead.
The same, Frank, and it's so good to be here with both of you. We met in D.C. and became good friends, and you're two people that I can really trust and go to. And I'd just like to thank you both for always being there.
Well, thank you very much.
You've been here, Nick.
Okay, where would you guys like to start this evening? There are about a million places. We can start.
I'd like to give a little bit of a background. We
Okay.
could do a background because the three of us go way back. We've known each other for a long time. We are targeted individuals. And I first met Frank in 2017 at a conference in Boston. And then I met Nikki. I held a rally in Washington, D.C. in 2019 and with Targeted Justice. And both Frank and Nikki attended the rally, which was very successful. We had hundreds of people show. And the reason we're doing this activism is because the targeted program is something that we have been thrown into. We're innocent people who have been thrown on the terrorist watch list by somebody in the deep state, and we're labeled as non-investigative subjects. I apologize. My voice goes in and out.
That's quite all
So
right.
we go way back, and they have just been such good friends for me throughout this journey, and I have learned a lot from both of them. I just visited Nikki in Hawaii recently, and I was just so blessed to be there with her. And so with the targeting program, you need good friends. You just never know from one day to the next what might happen, and we have been there for one another. So thank you both.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
you.
And thank you as well. Nicole, would you like to add something to that?
No, it's just, how important it is to check in with each other, because anything could happen, and to have an emergency number and to talk to somebody that understands where we are coming from. And it does. It helps huge. It's like sometimes I might go off the rail and, Midge brings me back to reality. And it's like, and vice versa.
Right. That works that way for all three of us, I believe.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I've run things by you, Frank, that sometimes I don't run by Midge, but, Exactly. You need that. Somebody that understands and has gone through it and gives their perspective in different ways.
That's
Some of
right.
us.
All right, go ahead,
Go
Mitch.
ahead. No, I just, I've always encouraged everyone who is being targeted. A lot of us are whistleblowers of government corruption. I'm an accidental whistleblower, I call it, of government corruption. A lot of activists are being thrown into this program, journalists, doctors, you name it. Anyone that they're trying to suppress, to shut down, to quiet them from speaking the truth, they are going after. And I think we saw this with the J6ers. We've seen it, with all kinds of people. So if I could encourage anyone who's listening, who you're going through this, is that do the buddy system. Get to know someone who's going through the same thing. And exchange phone numbers and be there for each other. Check on one another. I would say probably 10 people that I try to check on, on a daily basis, who have become very good friends. And if we could kind of talk about what the targeting program is, I mean, because there's a lot of folks who do not know about this, and it's just now coming out. It's, the old MK Ultra program with COINTELPRO. And, I've been in politics. I worked for 2 different Arizona governors for many years for medical board, for behavioral health. And I never heard of anything like this until it happened to me. And the reason I got targeted is because I was married to somebody in the deep state. And I laughed. And then I realized that there was, so much that I didn't know. And I filed a civil suit against my former business partner and my former business attorney for breach of fiduciary duty. And that's when they turned everything on me. So if you go to Targeted Justice website, my story's there, my pictures are there. Don't want to scare anybody. It's not good for my dating life for people to see my pictures. They're going to run the other way. The other thing I want to say really quick is that if you can do that buddy system, or you get a friend that you can laugh with every day, then you're going to do better. I get on the phone with my friends and I laugh. I go walking with some friends in the morning. We laugh and joke. You cannot, forget that, there is joy in the world, and please try to keep joy in your heart despite all that you're going through.
I have a question, Midge.
Mm-hmm.
When you awoke that first day and you looked at yourself in the mirror, what did you think happened?
Well, it started gradually. I was dating a criminal attorney where I was living in Prescott, Arizona, and I started, my face looked like it was falling, and my eyes would be very puffy. So, silly me, I thought I had allergies. So I couldn't imagine, So for the longest time, my doctor wouldn't say anything. He knew what was going on, but he wouldn't say anything. And then I really got burned very badly. And I have always had wonderful doctors. I've had all kinds of people who have helped me. And I have wound up in the hospital more times than I care to think about. And I have been blessed with wonderful emergency room doctors. I have landed in the emergency room at the hospital where I was in upper management, and everybody, knew who I was, and they believed me, because to go in with something so horrific, these are military weapons that are being used. It's, I'm sure you all have heard about what's happened in Maui, and it's all over the internet, it's all over social media, that they're talking about directed energy weapons. And these are the weapons that they want to use on citizens to keep them in line. And we all have been speaking out about this for years, and it was always plausible deniability until just recently. So we have come a long way We've made 3 trips to D.C. I've spoken and visited the offices of more than 300 legislators. I've met with my district rep, Debbie Lesko. There are, what I can say is that when I met with the legislators, I had things whispered in my ears. There are legislators who are being targeted, full-blown targets, that are having things done to them that they cannot talk about. So there's a lot going on with this program, more than we can even cover, in an hour. So anyhow.
Well, that's fantastic, Midge. There are so many people that are involved in this program. There are millions and millions worldwide. And as many of you know, Havana syndrome raised its head in 2016 and 2017 and attacked U.S. diplomats in Cuba. Now, to date, since those attacks, my last count, the last time I checked, there were 300 to 350 victims of Havana syndrome. We have victims in the FBI. We have had victims in the CIA. They have come forward. We have people coming forward every day. It seems that we have a new whistleblower every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's gotten to the point where it is too big to hide any longer. And the current administration is going to have to make a stand and tell us what is going on. Would you like to continue?
I don't think that's going to happen with this administration, to tell you the truth. The only person that really helped us, a president, was President Trump. After we had our rally in D.C. in front of the White House, it was President Trump who called a meeting. And a lot of people don't know this, who called a special meeting. And they brought in Dr. Hopper, who is treating people with Havana syndrome. He's in Miami. They brought in other key people, representatives from Trump's office. And Dr. Hopper told me that my pictures were used. So I want to give a thank you to President Trump, because no other president has ever done this. He truly is trying to stop the deep state and the elitists from carrying on what they want to do to all of us. They are using this program. Their goal is to control the entire population through intimidation, fear, and threats. So the easiest way, fear is the easiest form of control. And we saw it with, the jab. Whenever, there's a lot of false flags coming up that we see all the time. They're trying to instill fear in everyone. They did it with the J6ers because they don't want to see people speaking out. They don't, that's our First Amendment right. So they're trying to scare us, and don't fall for it.
Very good, Midge. I was just curious as to whether you had given thought to AI. Do you believe that AI plays into this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We all know that we can be hooked up to computers. It's happening, the Matrix and all that. It's true. The computers, it doesn't take a whole lot to do that. You just need telemetry, and you can take the brain waves of someone who's had a sleep study done. There's all kinds of ways that they're able to do this. They implant people, and so I've done a study myself, because I do a lot of research of where the computers are. The computers, and this has been validated, the computers are in underground bunkers. They're also in modular units that are dispersed throughout a city. And we all know that AI is real. Go look at the stocks for AI. Oh, my goodness. You want to make some money? You invest in AI. It's all over. Phoenix is building the largest chip factory, in the world. And I know they use chips for different things, but they also want to use the mark of the beast, and they have non-consensually with a lot of us. As nutty as it sounds, it's true. So, anyhow, Nikki, you want to have anything else to say on that?
No, I think we've all been a experimentation for what they're going to roll out on the world right now. Like the people that did get the jab are getting a lot of the same things we get with the vibrations. And I think, we were the experimentation to roll this out. And I think a lot of people are coming forward now because they're seeing what's happening into the world, and we have to do something for our kids in the future, for the future generations. And that's what's really important.
Exactly. We don't want our children, our grandchildren, their children off into the future dealing with this. AI is here to stay, but it must be controlled by an oversight committee above reproach. And I have not seen a committee as such as yet.
Yeah, there's no bioethics committees or AI for oversight. No laws put into place.
They already are claiming to want to give AI legal names and social security numbers. I've heard it all, but there is so much going on with AI. People have died from that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, I was just going to say we have to be careful what we say, otherwise, Frank gets booted off of YouTube. It's freedom of speech is really no longer. So we have to be kind of careful how we word things. We have to be careful what we say.
We do, but not really, because this is
Okay.
privately owned station, and
Okay.
it's uncensored. It's just because there are certain broadcasts that we love to have on YouTube, and this is one of them. Nicole, do you have anything you want to add, or a story that you'd like to tell?
Just, in the different ways that we're targeted. I know there's a lot of maybe new people out there, and maybe we can talk about, of what they try to do to you in the beginning, and try to guide those people. I know you have B2K, Frank, and Midge has the directed energy weapons. I don't know. Do you want to touch on that first, Midge, of the directed energy
Yeah.
weapons? I think your pictures say
Yeah.
everything.
Well, we get targeted. Our targeting is the same, and it's different. So in the beginning, the surveillance is really strong. Nobody notifies you. No one, no charges are brought against you. The fight, you have a dossier that is made up on your name, just like the Steele dossier against President Trump. It goes before the corrupt FISA courts, and then you have a FISA warrant put on your name, and no one tells you. No one, you're set up by someone in the deep state. You're not charged with anything. These are innocent people, but it's happening around the world. I've met people from all over the world. I think I've met more people in person than anyone, because there was a time when I was flying everywhere, meeting people and holding rallies in different places. So my targeting is different than Nikki's and different than Frank's. I get the microwave. It's microwave weapons is what I get. They come from cell towers and satellites. So if you feel like you're being hit by cell towers, which is 90% of what's happening to people, you can, if you're driving and you feel kind of funny, they're hitting you while you're driving. Here's a simple test you can do to prove that you're being hit. You simply pull your car into the sunlight, and if you have circles on your windshield, that's evidence that you are being hit while you are driving. I mean, no one has the right to do this. We are just, innocent citizens that they're experimenting on. But if we don't step up and start speaking out about all this like we have been and get more people involved, they are going to use this on the entire population to control people and put people in those 15-minute cities. And that's, a lot of that I hear now, that's what Maui's about. And I just want to say one more thing about Maui, is that I was just there with Nikki, and we went to a drum circle. And there were locals there, and they were telling Nikki and I that they were testing frequencies on Maui. So that was back in June.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, it was 2 months, and these were, non-targeted people, and they were saying that they were testing frequencies on Maui. And if you look at the way the winds were going, also, they were going, not offshore, into the shore. They have the streets closed off of going in there. You have to go around. They're only letting certain, news in there. And just looking at the way the trees are burning also from the inside out. So there's a lot of time.
Yeah, the trees are actually exploding.
And all the elites are going to go in there and buy everything up because they're just offering people $700 per household. Now, these people lost everything and their jobs.
$700 per household?
$700 so far, yeah, per household.
That's ridiculous.
And all the money they're sending to other countries, but, in our own country. So, yeah, those people aren't going to be able to survive and pay their bills. And it's like Oprah lives over there, and Bezos has a big piece of property, all bordering over there.
So
Wow,
it's about
amazing.
controlling. This is what the globalists have planned. We've known that for a long time, some of us. And I'm going to encourage everyone, to start stepping up. I know a lot of you have. Step up, start speaking out about this stuff. This is weapons. It's a slow kill. They're using against Julian Assange while he's in prison. And how I know that? Because his father reached out to me. His father gave an interview one time, and he said, I think you call it no-touch torture. That's another name for these kind of weapons. But these weapons are military-grade weapons. Cell towers and satellites are not supposed to be hitting civilians. But because some of us have always been outspoken, or we've left someone who is very powerful, very wealthy, and so they want to shut us down. We must keep talking. We must keep speaking out about this stuff. We must be there for one another. We don't know what's coming down the pike. And I used to say this all the time, too. If you can, please store up on food and water. In Phoenix, I kept food, and I kept a clothing pantry with food also for anyone who would need that. I have moved out of Arizona because the targeting was so horrific. Phoenix is not a pleasant place to be. There's too many people, more people coming in. To me, it's out of control. The deep state has really taken over. Look what they've done with our elections. And I have to thank someone who has a radio show. He's on YouTube, and he has been my good friend, and that's Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. He has, helped me. I'm sorry I lose my voice. He has helped me early on in my targeting when I didn't know what was happening. And he gave me an education because, like I said, I didn't know any of this stuff. And so I am so grateful to him. I'm grateful to Richard Lighthouse, who started Targeted Justice with me. He's a former NASA engineer. I would not be where I am today without him. So with that being said, I just want to tell everyone that, there is a $1.3 billion lawsuit against the DOJ with Targeted Justice. They have 15 plaintiffs. I'm not part of it, but my pictures are being used. And we're just hoping that this will, be very successful. I do believe the floodgates are starting to open up. and the stuff that we have been talking about and being activists. I mean, we're not just, you know, an armchair activist. We're out there. I personally have been to Chicago, held a rally at the Daily Center downtown. You know, the three visits to Washington, D.C. Excuse me, I protested at the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia 6 times because they run the torture program, which is what this is. I went to Kirkland Air Force Base in Albuquerque where they make the weapons. And I also went to Schriever Air Force Base outside of Colorado Springs and protested there. That's where the command center is for the satellites. Now, you know, this is so beyond who I am. This is not what I have done in my lifetime. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and those two things are near and dear to my heart. And I have wonderful family members who have supported me. And I know there's one listening to this interview right now, and I want to thank him so much for being there for me. Sorry, guys, I keep losing my voice.
Oh, that's okay. We've got a station break coming up here very shortly. And then I think we'll be hearing from Nicole.
If you are interested in natural alternative health and nutrition, look no further than Dr. Janet Starhall, a leading expert in the field with over 25 years of experience. After healing herself from a near-fatal disease caused by aspartame, Dr. Hall has dedicated her work to helping others take control of their health and wellness through simple nutrition strategies and natural detoxification. Join Dr. Hall's private online community at janethull.com, JANETHULL.com, and gain access to her hair analysis program, her natural detoxification videos, her pH balance program, healthy recipes, a weekly live Q&A session, and special guest interviews. Receive support from a thriving community of like-minded individuals who share your passion for holistic health. Join her private online community today, where you can learn how to improve your health and wellness through natural, holistic practices.
Okay, and thank you, Janet Starr Hall, or at least her commercial. She does a great job. She is a PhD in her field, and she is somebody that is working already and will continue to work with the community. Okay, Nikki, I think you had a few words to say.
Well, that was a great interview with her. My heart goes out to all the new TIs. And, in the beginning, it's very hard because you don't know what's going on. You have to deal with the gang stalking. Some of us get V2K. It's very, very scary. And I think it's really important to make the non-TIs aware, but, don't get to the crazy stuff right away. Just, you got to do it slowly. And I think we should touch on some things like to help the new TIs. Because in the beginning, you don't know what's going on. I mean, right away, they want to make us suicidal. They want to make us kill ourselves. They want to put us into a psych ward. They want to shut us up. And if you bow down to shutting us up, it's just going to get worse, like Midge said. I was dating somebody that was in a cult, and I was unaware of it, and that's how I got targeted. And they targeted one of my children, too. And it's been hell to watch your child go through that. I mean, do anything to me, but to do it to my child is another story. We're older and more understanding of the psychology of it. They really try to get into your subconscious in the beginning and try to guide your subconscious with negative thoughts, which, really does a lot. And if we can reach out to the new TIs and explain the way they do that, especially like with the V2K, and it is trauma mind control. And there's a lot of kids that don't realize it. Like my child, he will not believe that this is happening. And that's one of the things that they do to people is pin people against each other with the mind control. You have to have a lot of love and patience with that. A lot of people think it's their family members, but if you know what kind of heart these people have and know who is good or bad, a lot of, like, my son was being mind controlled to come up against me. And I knew that. You know, I just try to keep things as normal as possible. It's very scary for, you know, my son was a teenager at the time that we first got targeted. You know, it's been 7 years now and we've come a long way, but I try to keep things as normal as possible and try to make, you know, non-TIs aware that's the best we can do. You know, I was with Targeted Justice for a while. Now I'm going into something else. I'm going to be a mentor for kids that have been human trafficked and try to bring awareness to that, because there are kids out there being targeted like this and their parents have no idea. They think they're schizophrenic or, you know, or psychosis. And, you know, I think it's great that a lot of psychiatrists are starting to realize, like Frank had the doctor on the other night, you know, our families can be targeted in different ways, like Midge, you know. But it's really reconditioning yourself, because they do try to condition us with negative aspects. And your subconscious rules you pretty much 90%. And if you get the hang of that and try to recondition yourself, it's so important. You know, they try to isolate you. It's really important to get outside. It's really important about your sleep. And I know a lot of people are sleep deprived, and that's a huge thing too. I mean, if you have to take melatonin or whatever, the sleep thing is huge. And getting outside and getting some exercise. And what I do a lot of times, I have to push myself, you know what I mean? Because these directed energy weapons make you so tired. For the first couple years, I couldn't get off the couch. And, you know, now I go to the gym, and instead of trying to meditate with nothing in my mind, I meditate every day of how I want my life to be. And, you know, you just put good people around you. Even you got to get back out there and find a purpose in your life. And I know it's so hard in the beginning, but there's different phases they put you through in this targeting. And it does get better. You just cannot feed in to what they're trying to do to you, because they want a reaction from you.
Yes, they
I don't know,
do.
Mitch, do you have anything to point on that?
Well, I just want to touch on a couple of things really quick. There's so much to add to all this. We'll have to come back, Nikki. We used to do these shows all the time, and so we'll come back on because there's just a wealth of information. But when I was with Targeted Justice, I had whistleblowers come forward from the government when I had my rally in D.C. And that first night that we met and had dinner at this wonderful restaurant who accommodated us, we had hundreds of people show up. I couldn't believe it. They just kept coming, and some were from the government, and they were so afraid to speak out. And I just want to thank all of them for having the courage to come forward and to meet with us. So I've had a lot of people come to me, a lot of strangers telling me their stories. I want to thank them all. So in a nutshell, this is what happened after 9/11, because I know this is hard to understand until you've been, you know, listening to the calls or you already know about this. So this is what happened. After 9/11, Papa Bush wanted to reconstruct, you know, all the intel agencies so he could have control of the 17 intel agencies. So, you know, that's where Department of Homeland Security came in, okay? So everything is run out of Department of Homeland Security. Then they came into fusion centers. The fusion centers are funded by the Fortune 500 companies and the government. So the stalking program is run out of fusion centers. There are two companies that contract with the fusion centers, InfraGard and Citizen Corps. And that's where you get a lot of your stalkers. I want to tell people, the stalkers are just low people on the totem pole. They are not making decisions. They're not in the deep state. They're nothing, okay? They're just these poor folks who have been put into this program themselves. So if you could understand that, then you'll have a better idea of how you can overcome this and you can ignore. Okay? So these are folks who, like I said, are low men on the totem pole. They're just being told what to do. Okay? They make no decisions. So it is the FBI who runs the fusion centers. And with that, I'm an open book. I have always disclosed everything. At one point during my marriage, we were contractors with the FBI, and they used our garbage company to do surveillance. At the time, I knew nothing. I thought it was like out of a movie where they're watching one person. No, it had to do with all of this. So everything got restructured after 9/11. So the FBI, InfraGard, it's called the Secret Network. They use something called eGuardian to communicate and share information about targeted individuals and those who are put on the watch list. It is grossly illegal and unconstitutional. The folks in D.C. know about this. This is not a secret. It has never been a secret. It's been going on for a long, long time, but after 9/11, they stepped it up. And now they're just putting whoever into the program. It's a get even. It's a jealousy for like an ex-boyfriend or ex-husband. It's revenge. It's a great revenge tool if you have the knowledge and the money to put something into this program. So I am just grateful to be where I'm at, because there was a time when I didn't think I was going to make it, not knowing who to turn to, what to say, where to go. But I really felt like God put key people in my life that kept me sound, kept me grounded. And no child or grandchild should see their mother and grandmother hurt like I was hurt. With that being said, keep your sense of humor if you can. I know it's not easy, but if you can laugh and joke, and like I said earlier, keep that joy in your heart, they can't tear you down. They can't get to you. So it was during one Christmas that I was burned, and what was horrible was that my family for the first time got to see what that was like. So we were sitting around the dining room table having Christmas dinner. I felt really horrible. But it was my daughter who looked at me and said, Mom, we thought you should know that you're flaking off into your Christmas dinner because your skin flakes off. And with that, everybody started laughing. I started laughing. But, for my children, it's been really difficult because in the beginning, of course, they didn't want to believe you. My family didn't want to believe me. I get it. I understand. But slowly they have come around. My friends, I have a lot of friends from my hometown, a lot of high school friends who support me. And I'm just so blessed and so grateful that I soon realized, and I think if you're listening to this show and you're a TI, please do not blame those around you for creating this. And don't blame them if they don't understand what you're going through, because how could they? In the beginning, I wanted someone to help me. I wanted someone in my family to help me. But nobody can stop it. Your family can't stop it. This is a really torturous, horrible, evil program that they want to do to everyone. And, they've used a lot of us as their trial and error for, the jab, what they wanted to do to everyone. They wanted to shut us all down. They didn't want us going outside. They didn't want us to thrive. And a lot of people had some real issues during all that, right? So a lot of businesses were shut down. Well, that's what they'd like to do with all of us. But the human spirit is stronger than that. I know, I would like to say a little bit about keep your faith. If you have faith, keep that in your heart. There again, I was brought up in a Christian home. We are all Christians here today. So keep your faith, and that will help you. And so that's, unless somebody has a specific question, that's about it in a nutshell. Like I said, there's so many layers to all this. Are you there, Frank?
Oh, I'm here. I've been here for a while now. That's great
okay.
listening. Yes, thank you both. God. We've all been through so much together. Has anyone found a countermeasure that works? I haven't. I tried. Go ahead.
Frank, all of a sudden I can't hardly hear you.
Okay, have you found a countermeasure that works?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean as far as
protecting
physically
you.
helping?
Yes, protecting you.
Yes. To if you're getting something, if you're getting assaulted with these directed energy weapons, you can, water is the best source to deflect the microwave, the emanations. I use water pillows, and they have helped me greatly. You just order them online, get them, fill them up with water, put a little bleach so it doesn't start to grow stuff. And water pillows are excellent. If you feel like you're being hit, get in the shower, get in the tub. If you feel like your home is being assaulted and you feel like the emanations are coming through the walls and the floors and all that, that is your smart meter. They can remotely control the smart meter, and that's radiation coming out of the smart meter. This was not my field of study. It was medicine. Thank goodness for that, because I've been able to understand a lot about what was happening to me, and I wish I could be there in Maui helping with the burn people to see what kind of burns they have. If you are being burned, please use Silverdene cream. It's a prescription, or Desitin has helped me. But a lot of times, I have had to get in water and use those water pillows. So I think you can get some little floaties that you can fill up with water as well. So it's the water that really helps to help with the emanations. So.
Okay, thank you, Midge. Nicole, have you found any type of countermeasure that works?
No, just pretty much getting out of the house, because when I'm in the house, I can literally feel it. When I leave, it takes about 45 minutes, because when you're moving, it's harder to get to you. You know what I mean? But if you're just sitting in the house, it's really easy. And when I moved, I felt great for about 2 months until they set up everything on me again. But I actually felt normal again for 2 months. I woke up in the morning feeling great. I felt like my old self. But, it took about 2 months for them to set up everything when I moved to Hawaii. But being out in nature is huge, If you can shut down your routers, it comes through everything, the electricity, the satellites, the cell towers. A lot of people think it's just your phones. No, it's not, but just to keep moving and to get out of the house as much as possible.
Okay, that's very good. Yeah, many people come out of Walmart saying that they were shot with an iPhone. And, that just doesn't work for me.
No.
Yeah.
No, these are sophisticated weapons, that you can't carry them. You can't put them in your bag, nothing like that. And I know a lot of people think that. So these are very sophisticated, high-powered weapons that they're using. And they're so powerful. The day that I got hit when I was driving in Phoenix, and I was talking on my phone, all of a sudden everything got wavy in the front of my car, in the front part, and I got sick to my stomach. But I had that horrible sensation that I was decapitated. felt like my head was sitting on my shoulder, my right shoulder, and I kept looking over there to see if my head was there, because that's how forceful these weapons are. I was looking for a place to drive off into the desert because I didn't want to cause a car accident. It cleared up after a while, and I was able to drive on to my girlfriend's house. And I said to her, I think I've been hurt again. I think I've been burned again. And it wasn't just 30 hours later, because remember, it's microwave weapons, so microwave cooks from the inside out. So it doesn't show up right away. Your first inkling that something has happened is that you start itching. So that's the radiation, so you start itching. But that landed me in the emergency room. I was lucky. I have an industrial toxicologist who called down and spoke with the ER doctor, and she explained to him what had happened to me. I knew the triage nurse, and she was a little girl, so everything just fell into place. They did give me a diagnosis of radiation burns, and I will forever be grateful. They sent out the police to take some professional pictures. I've had that done twice. But I just want to say, because I do know a group of doctors that are being targeted, they have invited me on their Zoom calls. I've met with one. He lives in Massachusetts, and he has explained to me what's happening to the doctor. So I want you all to know that it's just not us, that this program is, hitting across the board to a lot of people, a lot of good people, a lot of different professions who are put under the thumb of this cabal. And the doctors are put in a really tough situation, because if they don't follow the orders, especially of managed care, then they are given a choice of either you do as we say, or we'll take your license away, or you can put yourself into a mental hospital for 3 months for like a re-education program. And all these doctors are choosing to have their license taken away. The suicide rate amongst doctors is actually higher than the veterans per day. There was an article that came out about that a couple of years ago. So I just want everyone to understand that this hits, a lot of different people, not just us. But I also want to say, and I don't think this has ever been done before or talked about, that 70% of the people that are targeted are middle-aged women, single women, because we're easy pickings. And a lot of the women have dated someone or been married to someone who are in the deep state. And the women, I thought, you know what, there's 70% of women, that's a high percentage. And so I started paying attention to some of the women that I know, like who were they dating, who were they married to. We are connected. I have discovered that we are connected because of the research that I have done extensively a number of years ago, pointed to that each boyfriend, ex-husband, whatever, they have a job that they do for the deep state, and that they have taken this program and put us women into it. So there's a war on women. And the funding for, even with women who are survivors of domestic violence, there's nothing, very little coming out of Washington, D.C. So I really feel like there's been a war on women horrifically. And so I want to, tell all my sisters out there, you just hang tight and you just hold on. And if you need help or you need to talk to someone, you get a hold of me, you get a hold of Nikki, or you get a hold of somebody else in this, this community of thousands of people who have been put into this evil program. But this is it's good versus evil, and it is a spiritual warfare, and we all know that. So.
Oh, thank you, Midge. I just wanted to add to what Nicole said here a few minutes ago, and that's the fact that it took some time for the perps to adjust. maybe it takes time for them to get approval for the satellite in Hawaii. It's just an idea. What do you think, Nicole?
I think it does go state by state, and country by country. And another thing I'd like to touch on is a lot of people ask, well, why would they do this to you? And besides being either married to somebody or involved with somebody or pissing the wrong person off is, a lot of these research colleges and the DoD contractors get a lot of money for the research and the experimentation on us.
Okay, that's not clear yet. We don't have we have proof and we don't. I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the colleges don't know exactly what it is. They're collecting data, and there was a doctor out in Stanford, I think it was, that was talking about this stuff, but didn't realize that it was non-consensual and that it was torture. Like a lot of doctors and scientists working on this stuff, they thought they were working on stuff, to make quadriplegics, be able to move again and the deaf to hear again. But they didn't know that because it's so compartmentalized. They didn't know that it was being used to torture people. And the doctors and scientists that have come out, the whistleblowers, I mean, their lives have just been completely destroyed. So you have, like Midge said, you got to understand the doctors and the other people. But, with the way things are going and they're seeing the way the world is going, it's like it's going to happen to everybody. And I think people, with that patriotic spirit is willing to come out, because if we don't, it's going to end up happening to everybody. And we don't want this to happen to our kids. It's like the other side is told, oh, it won't happen to you. But, once they get the AI up and running, they're not going to need the people anymore. I mean, the AI is already up and running, but they're just as disposable as us.
That's a very good point. Once the AI is up, in however many years that's going to be in terms of a robotic, totally robotic, autonomous.
Right.
Man is not going to have anything to do. What do we do? We're going to be sitting doing something. I mean, I will get busy. But it's the people growing up in the midst of this that worry me. There are so many things going on at this particular point in time. They're growing up right in the middle of it. Comments?
No, it's just like you said, they are growing up right in the middle of it. And a lot of other countries, I think it's South Korea, they're doing the smart cities and they're offering people, apartments and everything. A lot of people with low income to move into these things that, they never had before. And they're literally giving up their rights. And in South Korea, they have cameras in the house, except in the bathrooms. They have health nanotech in their bodies. They're willing, in this article, to give up their security for that, their privacy. I mean, for security. And that's how they're playing it out. And, they're doing it in Boston right now. I was just reading the outline for that. And it even said, we need to think of creative ways for people to give up their privacy. I mean, that was in the outline. It said that for Boston.
Wow. Unbelievable. The smart cities, Gates has bought a lot of acres in Arizona, one particular area next to my hometown where I grew up, and he wants to put in a smart city. And the only reason I know about some of this stuff is because of who I was married to. And I've had Gates' companies doing surveillance on me. Ecolab was, following me when I was in Phoenix, and I had all kinds of pictures and so forth and so on. I've had his water truck, swerve into my lane when I'm on the freeway before. Don't let any of this get to you guys. I know you all have gone through different things like this as well. But this is their plan. These are the elitists. And the other thing I have to hit on really quickly is called the transhumanism movement, because these guys, they want to live forever. so a lot of us have been used for experimentation in different ways to try to prolong life. If you look it up, go into Wikipedia, there's a transhumanism party. And all these guys belong to this transhumanism party where they want to hook humans up to computers. And because they don't want to die, right? They're scared to die because they're all going to hell. It's true. You can, like I said, you can just go to Wikipedia. There is a great video out by Reverend Horn called Inhuman. And there's a doctor in Phoenix called Dr. Vida Moore in the video. And she clearly states she believes in transhumanism, and she looks at it like, paying it forward. And when you start talking about this stuff, you can't help but not talk about all the ugly things that are going on, the adrenochrome and all that stuff, because it's real. So this is their plan. It's sick. It's evil. This is not how we are designed. This is not God's plan whatsoever. Just keep that in mind as well. And we have to fight with all our might, whatever that might be. So in my family, my one nephew has the saying, this is what you do in a herd. And so you hang tight, you hang together, you be there for one another, you build your own tribe. It's very important. And you get connected with other people who are going through the same thing you are, or you are, on the same level, if you're a free thinker, because that's what it's going to take. I have people from my hometown who have gotten in touch with me because they are being targeted. A lot of people from the state of Arizona. It just makes me sick what is happening. And, this was put into my lap for a reason. This happened to me for a reason. And I feel like when God taps you on the shoulder and puts something in your place like this, then you're supposed to do something with it. And I hope I've done good. I hope I've done what I'm supposed to do. I might have had to take a break for a couple of years because of 2 car accidents I was in, but I'm back, and I would like to start speaking out more about what's happening, because if we don't stop it with all our might, then it's going to happen to us, as to everybody. We're going to be put into these smart cities or these 15-minute cities, and they can't call them concentration camps, right? But in essence, that's what it is, so that they can monitor and they can rule over everybody, and they can do it seemingly very easily. So if they put you into these cities, these 15-minute cities, all they have to do is, just shut off your power, your water, you can't get food, whatever the case may be, but that is the goal. They want to control everything.
Okay, thank you very much, Midge. It's getting to be about that time, and I would like to thank you, Nicole, for making an appearance here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would like to thank you, Midge, from the bottom of my heart as well.
Thank you.
For appearing
You
tonight.
too.
I would like to say good night from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen.